Hi, everybody, and happy Hanukkah. We have latkes for your pleasure and would like to study. Last week, we completed chapter 39. In chapter 39, we discovered that there are four universes: emanation, Atzilut, Bria, creation, Yetzira, formation, and Asiya, action. And that God puts us in this universe, and He wants the soul. The body is like the machine that allows the soul to ascend up high. When we perform a mitzvah without kavana, with no intention, what happens? The mitzvah and the soul remains here on earth, an asiya. When we have kavana, but it's a natural kavana, just go with the flow. It's like it comes from an emotional place, from the heart. It elevates to the world of formation, Yetzira, where the angels come from. When we have the mind involved, where we awaken love and fear of God, and then we serve God, then it ascends up to Bria, to the higher level. There are exceptions, tzaddikim, who go to the world of Atzilut, emanation, but an average or most people cannot reach that high. We also discovered, this is going to be very crucial in this chapter, that in each universe there are two components, one that is godly and the other is that was created by God. It's holy, but it doesn't mean that it's godly, God Himself. So the 10 attributes is the essence, the soul of each universe, and the universe itself, we call it kelim vessels. So they house godliness, but it's not godliness. The neshama, when the soul goes up to heaven, it can go to one of those universes, but it does not connect to the 10 attributes, to the godly part of it. But when someone studies Torah, like we do tonight, or performs a mitzvah for the right purpose, then the mitzvah or the study of Torah connects the soul to the 10 attributes, to the essence of that universe, which is much, much deeper and much closer to God. This is what we cover so far. Did I make myself clear? The rabbi in this entire chapter is going to elaborate on one specific topic, and that is, how is it possible for someone to study Torah for ulterior motive, not to be elevated? After all, Torah is God's wisdom. It's pure, it's holy. How can it be descended into the klipot, to the opposite of holiness? The same is about mitzvot, but in mitzvot, it's much different, because in mitzvot, we perform the mitzvah. I shake the lulav, I light candles, I eat Shabbat meal. So then you can say, if you have an ulterior motive, it did not ascend. But when you study Torah because you want people to respect you, you study Torah because you're going to get paid for it, after all, it should be counted like studying God's Torah and connecting God's wisdom. A simple example would be when I study math, it doesn't matter why. If someone put together a book on math and he discovers how to calculate properly, and I discover that by studying from a teacher or from a book, I might have an ulterior motive. I might do it for money. I might do it because my parents forced me to. I might do it for many reasons. It's not going to change the wisdom that I derived by investing in that topic. Yet when it comes to Torah, we see that when one person studies Torah not for the right purpose, it doesn't go anywhere. That's the one question the rabbi is going to address, and the rabbi is going to tackle it from 2 points, 2 areas. Yes. So the rabbi is going to talk. I'm giving you a gist or summary of what we're going to discuss, because as we're getting in now to the last 13 chapters of Tanya, it's going to get heavier, but it will complete the whole project, making us understand the Torah very well. What the rabbi is going to say is that there are 2 types of studying Torah for ulterior motive. There can be someone who studies Torah without any desire to serve God. He studies Torah. He has no idea why. His father told him that he has to study Torah. The judge ordered, we had cases here in town where people unfortunately crossed the line, and part of their community service is to attend services, prayers, or to attend the Torah study. They don't do it because they want. They don't do it because they care. They do it because that's the only way they get away with what they've done before. That's one way. There is another way when someone does it for the sake of receiving benefit. Shelo lishma. Shelo lishma, not for, in other words, for an ulterior motive. They do it not for God's sake. They do it simply because they want to gain something out of it.
You learn it at the feeling, person who's learning it because he just has to learn it. At some point, you appreciate it, and now close over the line from just every day to actually appreciate it.
Right. So that's what we studied before. But the rabbi is going to dissect it into two components. What does it mean, shelo lishma? It says, we studied last week, that it's better for someone to study not for its own sake, not for the right purpose, because it will lead them to studying for the right purpose. That's what you're referring to. The rabbi now is dissecting it into two different types. There is one type where someone does it, he has no idea what he's doing, why he's doing it, but he's not doing it because he loves God. There is another one who is doing it for the wrong reason, and that's far worse. The first type, it remains in this universe. The Torah does not go up. The second type, the Torah goes down to the klipot and is held by the klipot. And I think I touched upon it last week. And the rabbi is going to go and explain it in a much expanded level. There was to explain that, I'm going to show you a story. Not many stories tonight. It's a true story. The Tsar of Russia once traveled to Germany. Didn't I share? Maybe I shared that with you? No, I didn't share that. And when he arrived in Paris, they prepared a feast for him. Very good, nice meal. One of the delicious menu items, they used to take the innard of a sheep and fill it up, clean it up, flip it out. The women knew how to flip out the innards, the kishke. You know what kishke is? And flip it out, clean it, and fill it up with vegetables and meat, and put it in a slow cooker for a long time. When it comes out, the Tsar, when he ate it, he marveled over that. He couldn't eat enough. So he asked from the ruler, the king of France or the empire, for, if possible, to show the menu. And the guy says, I'm sure. Here is the chief chef, and he's going to give you the exact instructions. And so he gave him the instructions, exactly what to do and how to do. And the Tsar went back home, and he asked his chef, handing him the menu, to prepare the meal. And they prepared the meal, and as the story goes, when it was brought to the table, it smelled so bad from what, and that no one can come close to it. So he sent a telegraph to Paris, to the ruler, and he says, I don't understand. Why did you cheat me? I asked you for the menu. I was expecting the same. And when, it was smelling good, tasting good, this one we couldn't even taste. And the Tsar and the chef in France realized what the problem was. What was the problem? He did not put in that they have to flip the kishke and wash it very thoroughly. So there was schmutz, for lack of better words, right?
It was not kosher.
It was not kosher. It wasn't kosher for consumption. So sometimes the vessel in which you prepare such a delicacies does not mean that it will taste very good, because the vessel is not good. There was a, huh?
It's the process.
It's the process. Okay,
Well, we are the vessel, so.
we are the vessel.
We are the vessels, so we have to have the right intention, the right attitude, the right mindfulness, the right heart.
Otherwise, you can put it on the fire with the greatest spices, and you can have hire the best chef, and they actually do very well, but it will stink. You won't come close to it, because the vessel that contains it, or as she calls it, the process, is spoiled. It's not good. That's why Hasidim does not pay attention or put the emphasis on the study, but rather on being God-fearing Jew. And that's what bothered the Misnagdim, those who opposed the Hasidim at the start. They say, you are disrespecting the Torah scholars. What the Hasidim said at the outset, and this is the basis for this chapter, is that in order for study of Torah to be proper, it has to connect to God. If your vessel, if your body is filthy because you study the Torah for your own sake, then it has not only it has no value, it stinks. It has to be thrown. You wasted money, time, energy, and all that's involved. And people remain hungry. It's much better if the vessel, if the pot is clean, even if you cook simple food, but it's edible. So among Hasidim, we pay attention and spend more time learning how to fear God, learning how to love God. So when we study Torah, we study it for the right sake. But if we spend time only to study Torah and only to learn more and more, another blot, it stinks. It stinks. You can't come close to it, and therefore it does not ascend. Ali, did I make myself clear? Huh?
Yes.
So many years ago, there was a Rebbe who needed a Hebrew teacher in the yeshiva to help the students learn Hebrew. So he posted an ad in the paper, and a man came that was already left the religion. He wasn't an observant Jew, but he knew Dikduk, he knew Hebrew very well. So he applied for the job. Those days, there was no such thing as politically correct. So the rabbi says to him, I can't hire you. So he said, why? He says, because I can't hire you. He says, why? I'm good, you can test me. Give me a test, I'll tell you. I know how to spell every word, I know how to explain every word. And the rabbi said to him, imagine you have a very good, tasty, fat meat, but you put in a spoiled pot. The pot stinks. Then you can't eat that meat. He says, you are a spoiled pot. So no matter how good you know, it's not good. It's not edible. That's the idea of what the Rebbe is going to talk about. But the Rebbe is going to go and get into many, many details and bring Zohar. I just want to go through as fast as we can so we don't lose you. I'm reading the second paragraph in the introduction to chapter 40. If, however, one's study and observance are not lishma for its own sake, because he feels no love or fear of God, his Torah and mitzvot cannot ascend at all to stand before God by being absorbed in the Sfirot. This is true even where his observance is not strictly shelo lishma, not for its own sake, that is, for some selfish motive, but even when he acts out of habit. In the case of Torah studied by rote, however, the Torah ascends before God when he reviews the subject lishma, joining it to his present study. We studied last week that if it's not done shelo lishma, it's not done for its own sake, it's done without love, without connection to God. Next time when someone does the same mitzvah or study the same Torah, he elevates it. Says the Rebbe, but as long as he does not review the subject lishma for its own sake, for God's sake, his study does not ascend even to the 10 sfirot which radiate in the worlds of Yetzirah and Asiya, in the lowest level, not to mention the sfirot of Bria, not to mention the world of Bria that it does not go to. For the Sphirot are a level of godliness, and the blessed Ein Sof light is clothed within them and is united with them. And therefore, were this person's Torah to ascend into the Sphirot, it would actually ascend to the Ein Sof light. I shared with you that in each universe there are two components like body and soul. You have the universe itself, its body, and then you have the 10 attributes which are the soul, and that's God Himself. So it does not ascend to any higher world and definitely does not connect to the 10 attributes. And without fear and love, the Torah cannot rise to stand before God, the Ein Sof light, as it is written in Tikkun Zohar. Indeed, instead, his Torah study rises to the chambers and abodes of Yetzirah and Asiya, which are the externality of the worlds. It goes to the universes themselves, not the 10 attributes. I hope I make myself clear. If not, you'll hear it over and over and you'll get it. The Sphirot are the internal aspect of each world, that is, its divine creative power. The chambers constitute the created world itself. So the rabbi says, as I just told you, in each universe, like in each everything in our life, there are two components, body and soul, spiritual and material. In the universe, you have the 10 attributes, which is God that created, and then there have the universe, which is the actual universe that exists in Yetzirah, Bria, etc. Where the angels are situated, that's in Yetzirah, as Rabbi Chaim Vital of blessed memory writes in chapter 2 of Shar HaNevuah, the portal of prophecy, that from Torah studied without kavanah, angels are created in the world of Yetzirah, and from mitzvot performed without kavanah, angels are created in the world of Asiya. So Reb Chaim Vital, the student of the Arizal, says, if I study Torah not for its own sake, I create angels in the world of Yetzirah. If I do mitzvah not for its own sake, I create angels in the world of Asiya, the lowest world. This indicates that Torah and mitzvot without kavanah are not absorbed in the Sphirot, but rise only to the level of angels who are created beings and are thus on the level of the externality of the worlds. So from the two components in each world, it goes to the external one, just like the angels are not part of the 10 attributes, but part of the universe itself. But one might argue that Rabbi Chaim Vital's statement cannot be cited in support of the Alter Rebbe's statement. The former speaks of the Torah and mitzvot without kavanah, while the latter deals with Torah and mitzvot that were not absorbed lishma. Perhaps the meaning of without kavanah is that one recited words of Torah and performed the mitzvot in a mechanical manner without involving his thought at all. Accordingly, we might say that only such a lowly level of observance is incapable of rising any higher than the level of angels, whereas Torah and mitzvot lacking only the quality of lishma may indeed, we might argue, rise to be observed into the Sphirot. The Rabbi is saying perhaps there are two levels of no kavanah. One is with bad kavanah, one with no kavanah, good or bad at all, and then one of them would connect to the 10 attributes, the other would connect to the universe itself. Says the Rebbe, this is not true. To forestall such an argument, the Alter Rebbe adds that to Rabbi Chaim Vital's words, now all angels are possessed of matter and form, meaning similarly, with angels created of Torah and mitzvot, the angels' matter is formed by the matter of Torah and mitzvot, and their form by the form of Torah and mitzvot. In other words, you have matter and form, you have body and soul. Angels are created by matter and form. So if the angel is created by matter because there was no kavanah, then it cannot connect with the form of the universe where it belongs, but also to them only to the matter. Harry, do you understand what I'm saying?
Created, with the created, what are they there for? To stand.
They are matters and not form, meaning they are not from the 10 attributes, but they are part of the universe. They defend us.
Okay, so in other words, after 120,
they come to defend us. Okay? But the idea, what's important now is that angels are only matter. In the universe of Yetzirah, where they belong, where they come from, they are matter in the universe, not 10 attributes. Therefore, if I study Torah matter with matter only, no kavana, it doesn't matter if it's bad kavana or no kavana at all. I connect to angels on the level of I create angels of matter. If I had studied Torah with kavana, then I had matter and form. Therefore, it will create angels, but also connect me to the 10 attributes, which is the form of each universe. I hope you understand. It's a little advanced tonight, but
That's zero.
in Yetzirah.
These angels,
But if I had higher kavana, intellectual kavana, then I connect to the form of the world of Beria.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Right now we're talking about natural kavana, instinct kavana, Yetzirah. Mitzvot is Asiya. I do not want to get to the distinction between Torah and mitzvot. You know what? I'll just show. I hope it's not confusing too much. Study of Torah is intellect. It's more of a spiritual. Therefore, it connects to Yetzirah. Performance of mitzvot has to do with actual physical objects. Therefore, it belongs to the world of Asiya. I don't want to get any further. Harry, you had a question?
you know, we learn the Torah, the angels all have a mission. Every time we hear about an angel appearing in the Torah, they're doing something, going somewhere for a purpose.
Like we studied today in the Talmud about Gabriel.
Right, so these angels that are created are waiting for their mission to be told, or they're just hanging around. I mean, where are they? I mean, what do they do?
I'm going to ask you some. I'm going to ask you some questions. Let's see if you can answer me. Do you have a degree in any topic? In what?
Physics, engineering, and business.
In engineering and business. So you have a degree in engineering and business. When you graduated, what did you do with it?
Put it in a drawer and worked in another field.
And
I put it in a drawer.
that's where it remains forever.
I'm not saying it on the wall
And now it hangs on the wall. So how often does it benefit you?
all the time.
Like in what way?
Anyway, because I've gotten general knowledge as I was studying for a specific degree.
So angels will benefit you in general all the time in the world to come. Same thing.
That's what I meant.
That's it.
I would say they project you the way that you created them. So if you just created a certain level, that's the level that they will protect you, right?
Right. That's what.
If you created the higher level, you're gonna be protected in a higher level.
That's true.
So it's
Yeah.
go back and forth. It's magnetic.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Says the Rebbe.
By the way, the Rabbi Vital did not live at the same time as the Alter Rebbe.
What?
Did Rabbi Vital live at the same
No,
time?
it was 250 years earlier.
Yeah.
The Alter Rebbe was the 18th century. The Arizal and Reb Chaim Vital was the 16th century. So,
So he came early. Vital came early.
much earlier. Says the Rebbe, all the aforesaid concerns Torah and mitzvot which lack the intention of lishma, but which were not performed expressly shelo lishma, for personal motives. So if it was not done for personal motives, it remains in this universe, or it ascends to one world, but only in the matter part, not the form. But Torah studied strictly shelo lishma, meaning for selfish reasons, as for example, for the purpose of becoming a scholar and the like, which today we wish everybody would study Torah for becoming a scholar. But in those days, 200 years ago, to become a scholar was shunned upon. It was a shanda, was not right. Does not ascend on high at all, not even to the chambers or to the abode of the holy angels, for even the externality of the worlds is, after all, in the realm of holiness. Therefore, Torah studied with such intention does not ascend even to this level. If I had an intention again that is not godly, not for the sake of God, it doesn't go anywhere. It gets stuck and it goes down, but remains instead below in the physical world, which is the abode of the klipot. Since the selfish motive stems from klipa, the Torah study that it elicits remains in the abode of klipot. Says the Rebbe, if one studies Torah for the sake of getting paid, for the sake of becoming important, then the klipa is the one who motivates the person to study, and therefore it's holding it to, and does not allow to ascend. And the extra, the rabbi is proving it from Zohar, we're going to skip. It is similarly written in the Zohar, commenting on the verse, what profit has a man of all his toil that he labors under the sun? Question mark. Our sages point out that only men's labor under the sun, that is, toil in mundane matters, does not realize any profit. And the labor of Torah, however, is above the sun, and does indeed profit a man. The Zohar, though, stipulates, in other words, even this is King Solomon in Proverbs. He says, what's the benefit of putting our efforts and sweat under the sun? At the end of the day, we're going to be under the ground, 6 feet below. So what's the difference? That's what King Solomon is saying. Zohar comes and says, there is no benefit to toil and sweat for anything that's under the sun. But if we toil for mitzvah or for study of Torah, that's above the sun, that goes to spiritual realms, then there is benefit. What's the benefit? That it ascends very high and remains there to help us. Even with the toil of Torah, if one does it for its own glory, it belongs to the category of labor under the sun, and there is no profit in it. In other words, says the Zohar, if I do it for ulterior motive, it remains under the sun. If it's under the sun, it doesn't ascend, it doesn't give me any reward. This is also the meaning of the saying of our sages, happy is he who arrives here on high with his Torah study in his hand. Anybody heard that phrase? Harry? No? Ashrei mi sheba lekan v'torato beyado. It's a Talmudic saying. What do you mean? What happy is the one who came here to heaven, and the Torah that he studies in his hand. Can someone come to heaven without the Torah he studied? Everybody does. So why is happy is the one, meaning not everybody is lucky enough? And the answer is someone who studied Torah for ulterior motive, he doesn't come with the Torah up to heaven. So therefore, happy is the one who studied Torah for God's sake, and therefore the Torah is in his hand. He's bringing it when he goes up to heaven. Meaning that his Torah study did not remain below in this world. That's why we say Ashrei, happy is the one who came here with the Torah in his hand, because you'll have people who have Torah, but it's not in their hand when they come up there to heaven. It remains in this world. The saying thus means, happy is he who studies Torah lishma, for its own sake, so that his Torah ascends on high. Had he not studied Torah lishma, his Torah will not be with him in his hand when his soul ascends, but would have remained in this world. Can we continue? Hallie?
Yes, it is.
No, I think it's difficult as a human being to not want to have some degree of scholarship when you study Torah. And I would see, you would wrestle internally with, am I doing this, for God, or am I doing this because I want to have an ego, or I want to feed my ego?
So I would like to address it from different angles. You're making a point that practically speaking, it's very challenging to serve God and study Torah for God's sake. Is that what you're saying? Especially, we all have big egos. I don't know about you, but I have big ego. And it's very hard for my ego to be pushed aside. So the first answer is you need to know the healthy way of serving God, even though we don't practice it. And I think over the last few years, I see it with medicine. Doctors, there is a doctor who shares with me many times when he tells people you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and they laugh at him. But part of the reason he says that to them is that one day they will wake up. Hopefully it's not too late. And they'll be able to say, let's try it. And I know from myself as an experience with regards to health habits, when I was told, don't, I says, yeah, I'm here. Are you talking to me? It's not. But over the years, I've learned to restrain myself so slowly. In other words, you know which direction you want to be headed to. And you know if you are improving or you're going behind. Are you going to always be there? No. My doctor, by the way, says to me, everybody cheats. He says, you can cheat, but at least you should know you're cheating. That's what he told me.
Be honest with yourself.
Ah, yeah.
Be honest.
He says, just a minute. Let's address this question. So this is one. In other words, the rabbi wants you to understand that the way to serve God and to be able to come to heaven with the Torah or mitzvot is when I do it for God's sake, not for the candy, not for the fame, not because I'm forced to, and not for the wrong reason. I'm speaking about myself, not everybody else. Am I doing it for the right reason? No. But sometimes I do. But at least I try to improve, or from time to time, I try to do it for the right reason. That's the first answer. The second answer is the rabbi wants you to know that if you realize this is the right way, you'll be able to reach it. You will be able to. It's a little hard. I know it's a little hard. Or as they say today, it's politically incorrect. But this is the truth. And you can't go away from the truth. In Judaism, there is something unique about the Torah. I was interviewed today by two television, by Channel 7 and Channel 9 from Bayside, Channel 9, about the events yesterday in Australia. And I said that there is something that's unique for us Jewish people, and that is we know that God saves us and performs miracles. The conditions around us keep changing, and we'll need to learn to adapt. So if there is danger, we will add security, but we will raise healthy children with no fear. We will raise children with pride, knowing that they connect to God, knowing that they have a purpose here, knowing that they are here to improve the universe. It doesn't matter what's going on. So we learn how to adapt. I think the same thing can happen here. We need to know this is what God wants from us. Is it hard? Of course. Today, 100 years ago, I don't think it was that hard because that's the way people did most of the time. Today, our self-centeredness and ego and my rights and the freedom of speech and the freedom that we enjoy is centered all about me all the time. It's iTunes, it's iPad, it's iApp, it's all I. You know, when the iTunes came first, and then it's iPhone, and among the Hasidim, you know, in yeshivas, they would say it's forbidden. iTunes is forbidden. iPad, remember the iPad? Not the iPad, the iPad, the iPod. Remember the iPod, the music? They said it's forbidden. The yeshiva students would ask why. I said, because the first letter is I. I is a dirty word for a chassid. It's not I, there is no I. So the whole idea of the creator of the apps, the applications and the devices is all about I. That's our generation. What the Rebbe wants us to is to put aside our I and put you, God. And by doing so, we should be able to. And there is other ways to answer. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Okay. You wanted to say,
No,
Etty?
I just felt like if he wants to be here, I feel like your soul wants to be here, so you're already serving God, like.
She's a very beautiful point. She says the fact that you study Torah here tonight, even though some of it does not make sense and it's very esoteric, it's because your soul yearns to discover God's words. I think I touched upon it last week. And therefore, this is connecting to God directly without any reason. Right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, like
Right.
you're already doing that one.
You're already there. Let's continue. The rabbi is asking a question. Page 581. Although the Torah and the Holy One are, blessed be He, are altogether one, for He and His will are one, and the Torah represents His will. In other words, how can you tell me that the Torah remains here on earth if I had it for ulterior motive? After all, it's God's intelligence. If it's God's intelligence, it belongs in the spiritual worlds. Nevertheless, the Torah will not ascend on high without kavana. If I do not have kavana, it will not go high. If I have ulterior kavana, it will go down. The reason, presently stated in brief, here is a short understanding of what we're going to study. The words of Torah that one speaks are physical, as are all things in this material world. True, they are holy words. The divine life force within them is not concealed and veiled as it is in other material beings. Yet, being physical, the words of Torah share with all physical existence a divine life force that is greatly contracted and limited. Therefore, they cannot ascend to the godly spirit unless they are impelled by kavana, that is, a spiritual intention generated by love and fear of God, which elevate the words of Torah and cause the divine will to be revealed in them. Here is in the Alter Rebbe's word. Let me explain what we just studied. It's the summary of what we're going to study. The rabbi is saying the Torah is God's wisdom, and no one can tamper with that. It's like fire. You cannot affect fire. As long as there is a fire, the fire has 100% of all the quality that a big fire has. Even if it's an ember, it doesn't matter. But the way the Torah, God's intelligence came in this world, it came through physical properties. Because I have to say it in my mouth, and I have to read it from text, and therefore it contracted itself to physical boundaries. And because of that, it can be kept in this universe and not ascend. That's what the Rebbe is going to say. In the Alter Rebbe's words, the Holy One, blessed be He, fills all the worlds alike, yet the worlds are not equal in rank. The difference between one world and another is due to the recipients of the divine life force, and in the end is twofold. Says the Rebbe, God fills all the worlds. Then you have, but yet you have four different categories of universe. Why? It's not from the giver point of view. The giver gives one thing and everybody gets it equally, but the recipients are different. I'll use two examples that will come to play later on, I'm sure. Just like the power of electricity. Power electricity can power anything. But if you have a device that can run an air conditioner, it will use 220. But then you have an iPhone that needs only 12 volts. You need a transformer to shrink the power, and then you have a power that powers off a phone, a small phone, which is so minute compared to the AC, the unit that cools up the entire room. Even though they all benefit from electricity equally. So the electricity didn't change. There are no different types of electricity. There is one type of electricity. It's the power to give heat, to give cool, to cool down, to turn a propeller, whatever it might be. It all depends on the device that connects to it. I think another example, but that's it's I feel it's even deeper. However, it needs some thinking. The father and mother, when they connect to one another and create a child, the father gives the seed. The seed contains with it in itself the power or the DNA for every body part of the child: nails, skin, hair, heart, liver, brains, everything is there. Yet the mother will develop it over time. So one part will be devoted to creating brains, the other to create a skin, the third one to create legs. How come? So as we know, the longer it stays, the later it develops, the less of a quality it is. The first part is the heart, then the brains, then other body parts, and then body limbs are being formed, and it goes on and on. Hair, for example, nails are last to be created because they have very little energy. The DNA of the father is in the hair and the nails equally to the in the brains. It doesn't matter. Today we know we find the DNA of the persons equally everywhere because the seed that the father contributes is so powerful. However, over time it shares or it develops into a smaller part, less energized, and therefore it creates different parts of the body. Somebody is asking a question here. Linda, you have a question? No. Anybody? No? Somebody raised their hands, I see. Okay. Says the Rebbe, you have four universes, and they all were created from God, but they are different universes, and the reason is because the recipient is different. They receive much less energy of God, and therefore it creates a different universe. The Holy One, blessed is be He, feels all the worlds alike, yet the worlds are not equal in rank. The difference between one world and another is due to the recipients of the divine life force and is twofold. In two ways, there is a distinction between each universe. Number one, the higher worlds and beings received an illumination infinitely greater than the illumination received by the lower. So the first world had a lot of energy. The one before receives a lot less. It's the same energy, but it's much smaller. It went through a chain of changes that it became much less. Number two, the higher ones received this illumination without as many garments and veils as the lower ones. The first universe gets it directly from God. The second one comes, it's already veiled in to different veils, so that it changed. It changed, but it's for the recipient, not for the giver. This world is the the lowest of worlds in both respects. For the illumination of divine life force within it is greatly contracted to the farthest degree. It is therefore corporal and material. And furthermore, even this contracted illumination is clothed in many garments and veils, until it is clothed in klipat nuga, to give life to all clean, permitted things of the world, including the animating intelligent soul in man. Says the Rebbe, there are two types of contracting. One, it contracts and it gives much less energy. Number two, it comes through many, many veils. Because it comes through many veils, it's much different for the recipient.
What is contracting? What material is contracting?
So I'm going to use many examples. By the way, what we speak about is can address many aspects of prayer and Torah study. It's just that we don't have time, and I don't want to get you more confused. But being that you ask a question, I'll address that. How do you say material in Hebrew? Homer, thank you. But there is another word, gashmiut. Gashmiut. Gashmiut comes from the root word of geshem. What is geshem? Rain. Rain. Is rain a blessing, or rain is the opposite of a blessing? In general, it's a great blessing. Without rain, you couldn't survive. Right? You agree? Do we have any dispute over that? So if I ask you, is Geshem Chesed or Gvura? Obviously, it should be Chesed. Yet we call it Gvurot Gshamim, Gvura. It's restriction. And you know why? Because if Chesed, kindness, would be the one to shower us with water, it will come like a swimming pool of water coming down. What will happen? We will drown at best. Our buildings will collapse. There will be no trees. So what does God do? He's extremely kind that he separates the rain to droplets so you can survive the rain. So even though the greatest kindness God did is to create rain, to bring rain from the earth to come and precipitate and come back, yet we call it Gvurot Gshamim, Gvura. Because when do you ask for rain in the prayer in the Amidah? Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mi Kamocha Baal Gvurot. What does Gvura has to do here? And the reason is rain is the greatest expression of restricting. Because if God would have given us water just like what we need, we wouldn't be around. So therefore, God makes it in small measures. And for that, we thank God. That's what it means contracted. Do you understand that? Yes. So for higher beings that are bigger and stronger, they can get 5-gallon buckets of water at a time. If we had 5 gallons of 5-gallon buckets of water coming down, when you have hail, it's almost impossible to survive. Big hail, strong hail, it's very difficult. So imagine the first universe, they get rain just like an ocean falling on them, and they can survive. They have no problem with that. If I were to go to that universe, I would drown immediately. The second world, the water are coming in sections, swimming pools at a time, one swimming pool at a time. The third world is 5-gallon buckets. For us, it's like a half an ounce, right? That's called, but is the quality of the first world and the last world of the water the same? Of course. It's the same. It's water. It has the same quality. It grows, it satiates, it provides us with everything we need, except because in every world it contracted itself. Now, do you understand that? That's number one. Number two, when it's coming to us, it comes through many veils. Imagine the water that comes to us, but we need a bottle to drink it from. Do you drink from the rain when you're thirsty? You go out when the rain and you open up your mouth? Sometimes, I'm sure you did it. But in order for me to drink, I need a can or I need a bottle. In the higher worlds, they don't need those veils. This is we call a veil. Because, by the way, I'm sure you heard it from me many times that the can costs more than the drink. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
The can cost them about, in 1990, when I discovered the can was 2.5 cents and the drink was 2 cents. Another time they would sell it for 40 cents.
Last night, $2.
You had to bring it up. So, can I fill up a big pool in my bath with Coca-Cola and drink from there? Of course you could, but you're meshuggah. So what do? You pay for the veil much more than you pay for the drink. You know why? So you can carry it around and drink it at your will without much efforts. That's the second contraction. Number one, so for the provider, for God, it's the same soda, it's the drink, it's the cherry coke that God wants everyone to have, that must have. But in every universe, as they descend, the quantity, the volume shrinks. Number two, it needs different veils and utensils to hold it. In this physical universe, this is a veil. This is what contains it. In our world higher, they don't need that. They can get straight to the source of the one. I hope I made myself clear.
I'm thinking, if I throw this out there, I'm thinking of the time when Moses talked to God on the mountain. And he said, you can't see me.
Right.
It's too much.
Right. It's too powerful. Very good. Says the Rebbe, we read those two. As mentioned in earlier chapters, all permitted objects receives their vitality via Klipat Nuga and can therefore serve either a good or an evil purpose. And therefore, when the animating soul speaks words of Torah or prayer without kavanah, the concealment characteristic of this world is absent. Yet, the contraction still applies as follows. Says the Rebbe, when you study Torah but you don't have kavanah, you did not connect properly, as the Rebbe explains. Though these are holy letters, and thus, in this case, the klipat nuga of the animating soul does not constitute a veil or of separation, concealing or covering the divine holiness clothed in these letters, as Klipat Noga conceals and covers the divine holiness in the animating soul when it utters idle chatter, and the divine holiness in the animating soul of other ritually clean living creatures, when Klipat Noga likewise conceals the divine life force. Because, says the Rebbe, for although no place is devoid of him, and his presence is found in man's animating soul, even when he engages in idle talk, and in the soul of all living creatures. Yet he is the most hidden one of all the hidden, and is called a hidden God, for he is hidden from his creations. Similarly, the illumination and extension of vitality from him is hidden in many dense garments and veils, and is finally closed and hidden in the garment of Nuga, which completely conceals man's divine life force when he engages in idle talk, and the life force in other animals, as stated. It is.
That's one of the worst sentences I've ever seen. It doesn't end.
Let's continue. Huh?
Can you explain some of that? What did he just say there?
He says, let me explain. He says that even though God created and animates, recreates everything anew all the time, therefore, so you have two types of idle when I use speech. One is Torah speech, the other is idle talk. Idle talk is a wasteful speech, not a sin. Says the Rebbe, God will give energy to the human to speak idle talk through klipat nuga. Nuga, we said, is nishahin nishtaher. It's not holy, it's not holy. It depends what you do with it, right? So you are hiding. God is concealing himself completely. You don't see it's God. You feel that it's your energy. That's what klipat nuga is. If I use my energy to speak words of Torah, then the klipat nuga becomes holy. If I use it for idle talk, then it remains in Klipat Nuga. It does not elevate. It's not a mitzvah. I didn't do any good. That's what the rabbi is saying here. And the same is all kosher animals. What's the problem?
If you say so, Rabbi.
It is different, however, with the holy letters in words of Torah and prayer. Here, not only does Klipat Nuga not obscure godliness, but on the contrary, Klipat Nuga is transformed to good and is absorbed into the holiness as explained above. So you have Nuga. Nuga is the energy for anything I do that's not forbidden. If I use that energy for mitzvah, like study Torah or performing a mitzvah, I have elevated it. If I did not, it remains in Nuga. It's not a sin, but it does not elevate. Where is God? God expresses itself through Nuga. Nuga is the veil that conceals God's energy. Remember we said that God, like the rain, it comes in different forms, in different vessels. Nuga is a veil, is another vessel that contains godliness. And therefore, if I did not elevate it to holiness, it remains in this world like Nuga. Did you understand this? Huh? So that's what I'm saying. That's what the rabbi is saying. We're going to stop right here and continue. I'm not sure we can continue. In next week, we're going to study. I'll let you know.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody, and good night. Bye.
Thank you, Rabbi.